Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today's video is the process of me making my Ren Faire outfit. There is T-minus about 10 days to make this outfit, so I need to start like right now. Basically, my outfit is inspired by 1500s Iraq, which at that time was conquered by both the Ottoman and Safavid empires, who notoriously hated each other. So what better idea than to merge the two? Now, the Ottoman style was kind of like long abaya style situation. I'll put pictures up. While the Safavids, sometimes they did it shorter, sometimes they layered. Again, I'll put pictures. You guys are gonna see pictures as I'm talking. But let's get started. Our first piece is this sort of short sleeved open jacket situation. Now, both the Ottomans and the Safavids had like buttons right here, so I'm going to sew some on so I can like button it up and unbutton it whenever I want. And then bringing you guys up close, it has like this sort of damask style fabric pattern, whatever, which was popular in that era. And so basically this is more Safavid inspired. Our second piece is this button up. It's like this cream color, which I will be bleaching, by the way, because I want it to be white. This is based off of more Ottoman style. They used to have like these sleeves that were like open, and so I will be cutting this in order for it to be more flowy and have like that open sleeve type of situation. This here will be cut into a skirt situation, sort of like a layering in that goes under the first piece I showed. And then both the Ottomans and the Safavids commonly wore belts, and so like around their open whatever in order to you know, hold everything together. And so I bought a belt. For our pants, I will be making my own because I couldn't find what I was looking for. Have I ever sewed before? Well, maybe a little, but have I ever made pants before? No. We'll make it work, you know? We'll make it work. And then I also bought buttons for the, like, to sew onto the, girl, I'm blanking. The first piece that I showed, the colorful one, the one that I said typically has buttons. So I don't know where I put those buttons, and so I will be sewing those on. And I will take you with me, and you will see the process. Okay, so basically what you see me doing right now is measuring around like my waist area where I want the pants to sit. And then I'm basically measuring 1 inch smaller than my waist so that the elastic and the pants don't fall off of my waist. Here I'm just making sure that I have enough fabric to go around my waist. So basically I'm just going to use all the fabric since I want it to be poofy anyways. And then here I'm just threading my needle and sewing the 2 layers of the fabric together because otherwise they will be see-through and we don't want that. Now this fabric has a lot of wrinkles, so I decided to iron it before getting started. There were a lot of wrinkles and I only have this teeny tiny like craft iron, so this had to do the trick. So you see me ironing all of the wrinkles, and surprisingly it didn't do a terrible job, but you know, it would have been better if I had a bigger iron, but oh well. And then I use a colored pencil or whatever to draw a line right down the middle where I'm going to cut the two like pant legs, and then sew up the openings, I guess, between the two. This is how it looks. And then I mark out where the elastic is gonna go and how much clearance I need to fold it over. This is the elastic I'm using, and then I'm marking out a little under like my waist size. This is the comparison between the fabric and the elastic, and then I'm pinning over the fold so that it doesn't move around for me, and then I sew it together. This is what it ended up looking like. I did end up messing up a little bit, but you know, it's okay, we move on. And then I realized I can't pull the elastic out, so I took out some of the stitching and I poked a hole through the elastic, tied a string to the elastic, and then taped it to this paintbrush stick. And I basically put it through the hole so that I could pull it out, because I wasn't able to pull it out the first time. And then I sewed it together. This is what it looks like. And then to my ankles, I'm basically doing the same process that I did with my waist, except I'm not taking off an inch just because I don't want it to be too tight. And I basically repeat the exact same process that I did with the waist twice, because I have two ankles, obviously. And this is what it looks like pre-sewing up the pant legs. This is before sewing and this is after sewing. Not really much of a difference. This is before turning it, you know, the right way, and this is after. I will say the stitching low-key sucks. But again, I've never sewed pants before. This is what they look like on me. Which, this is, like, basically exactly what I wanted, so it worked out either way. I don't really mind. Yeah. Moving on to that cream-colored shirt. Here you can see me try to bleach it. I didn't realize that this was polyester, and polyester can't be bleached. So, I gave up, and I just threw it in the dryer, and decided to just start working on it anyways. Here I've got it turned inside out, and I'm drawing out where, oh, I don't know why this is upside down, but I marked out where I want to cut it because it was too big. And here I'm like sewing it, obviously. This is the first side all sewed up, and I'm doing the exact same thing to the other side, and here's how it looks. And here I am going to open up the sleeves. They were very wrinkled. I did not like that. This happened on both sides, so I decided to iron them out. Here is the after. Look how much nicer that looks. I did this to both sides. Somehow this side turned out smoother than the other one. I don't know why. And then I sewed up the seams of the arms. Here's the after. I did this on both sides. Here is what it looks like finished, and then here is what it looks like on me. I do wish that the arms were a little more flowy, but you know, we take what we can get, whatever, it's fine. Moving on to the skirt, I measure out where I want to cut it and then loosely line it up right there, I guess, and then I cut it. Once again, I measure out my elastic 1 inch shorter than my waist. I line it up and pin it down to make sure I have enough clearance for the elastic, and I sew it up and use the string and paintbrush method to pull it out once again. And I sewed up the ends really badly, but it's whatever. Here it is finished, and then here is what it looks like on me. I think the length is pretty okay, in my opinion. I do think it should have been longer, but I'll let it slide. Here's the last part of our cosplay. I'm going to seam rip the sleeves off. And here's how it looks after ripping the sleeves off. Now I'm going to sew up the seams, and these are how the seams are looking afterwards. Now I'm taking my buttons and sewing them on first, just with regular string to secure them. And then I went over with embroidery thread, and this is how it is looking. The last step was to seam rip some holes in the side for the buttons to go into. Alright, here's how it looks on me. I could have it open, I could have it crossed over like this, I could have it buttoned up completely if I wanted to. Yeah. And then this is the final setup. And then I paired it with a white hijab, the way I saw in the paintings, both Ottoman and Safavid. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. That's it. Bye.